You see people every now and then with a black hat or so, they're doing his style. That's the mark of a true artist.
I was younger then.
Tell him what I see.
I am in a tree, I am 10. I am in a tree.
I was younger then.
In 1976, during the celebration of the country's bicentennial, Stephen Sondheim and Hal Prince were exploring the dark side of American imperialism in Pacific Overtures. Set in 19th century Japan, John Weidman's story was told by an all-male Asian cast in a kabuki style.
If it happened, I was there. I saw everything. I was someone in a tree.
Tell him what I see.
It was a daring, courageous thing we did, and we were extremely proud of it, and it was a success. It was a flop, but it was a success.
Throughout the 70s, Sondheim and Prince defied the optimistic conventions of the musical. Theatrical nostalgia turned bitter in Follies. And an operetta scored in three-quarter time, A Little Night Music, was fraught with anxiety. In 1979, they adapted the unthinkable into a Broadway musical. It was a tale of slaughter and cannibalism set in 19th century London, featuring the murderous barber, Sweeney Todd.
I thought it would be fun to see if you can scare a contemporary audience the way movies can scare you.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd. His skin was pale and his eye was hard. He shaved the faces of gentlemen who never thereafter were heard of again. He trod a path that you have trod, did Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street.
We always wanted to go somewhere fresh and new. Sweeney Todd didn't hurt people's feelings. It was meant to thrill you. I'm much more interested in having an experience in the theater which is unlike the experience I'm having on the street.
In the opening number, having the rumbling music was very low, and I put it in as low a key as possible, this feeling. Now, right, and always with a slight crescendo. So there's always a little leaning in, as if something's about to happen and then doesn't. So the feeling is of lifting the voice a little bit and then dropping them, lifting and dropping. That may seem subtleties that nobody gets, but it creates a mood. And I don't think anybody would argue that the opening moments of this play are very creepy indeed.
Attend the tale of Sweeney Todd. He served a dark and a vengeful God. What happened then? Well, that's the play, and he wouldn't want us to give it away. Not Sweeney. Not Sweeney Todd. The demon barber of Fleet Street.
Sweeney Todd is the grisly tale of a barber falsely convicted of a crime who returns to London seeking revenge. His victims' bodies are disposed of by cooking them into tasty meat pies.
Here we are, dear, hot out of the oven.
What is that?
It's crisp. Have a little taste.
Is it really good?
Sir, it's too good, at least. Then again, they don't commit sins of the flesh, so it's pretty fresh.
The last line of the first act of Bond's play says they fall into each other's arms with laughter. And I thought, gee, that's a moment to sing about. And what are they laughing at? And then I thought, they're laughing at the prospect of what people will taste like.
This one might be a bit stringy, but then, of course, it's a fiddle player.
No, this isn't fiddle player. It's piccolo player.
How can you tell?
It's piping hot.
That's no one at first.
History of the world, my sweet.
Oh, Mr. Todd, what does it tell?
Here's who gets eaten and who gets to eat.
Mr. Todd, too. Mr. Todd, who gets the sound?
But fortunately, it's also clear that everybody goes down well with beer.
Sondheim's dark vision had moved the musical to where an audience could identify with a tale of murder and cannibalism. As the score's intertwined arias reach their climax, Sweeney Todd enacts his vengeance on society.
And if you're beautiful, what then? With yellow hair like wheat, I think we shall not meet.
Revenge is universal, whether people will admit it or not. And that's what the piece is about. It's about revenge. And I think the audience senses that and they identify with Sweeney Todd.
Goodbye, Joanna. You're gone and yet you're mine. I'm fine, Joanna. I'm fine.
Musicals have always tried to keep the dark side of the culture out of the frame. Sondheim was the first person to try to sing about that darkness. The ultimate expression of that in his work would be Sweeney Todd, which is, I think, a masterpiece.
And in that darkness, when I'm blind with what I can't forget, it's always morning in my mind, my little lamb.
He had a complete disregard, courageous disregard for what the public is maybe going to like or not like. Audience should damn well work a little harder and listen, even if the subject matter is distasteful to some people.
A
From tragic knife fights in West Side Story to vengeful throat slitting in Sweeney Todd, the Sondheim-Prince collaborations stood at the apex of a period that redefined the musical tradition on Broadway. By the end of the 1970s, inspired by the success of the chorus line, Broadway became the centerpiece of a new public relations campaign designed to attract tourists to New York.
There's only one Broadway. It's in New York.
I love New York. I love New York. I love New York.
Increasingly, the tourist trade has dominated Broadway, favoring revivals and nostalgic entertainments. But the most successful shows in the years to come, in fact, the most successful in Broadway history, came from theaters in London, where a young British producer found a way to make the American musical a truly international phenomenon.
I love New York at night. You never know who might appear.
I love New York.
Private mates